This is our content sponsored by Geographics Media.
Yo, man, did I ever tell you about the conversation uh that I had with Pimp Daddy back in the day? Now I'm not gonna say where we were. I'm not gonna disclose all that information, but did I ever tell you about the conversation that we had?
No, what was Pimp Daddy talking about?
I'm a liar, barely feel remorse. I'm a cheater, letting my nature take its course.
Let's go.
So, if you recall, man, we making beats in the heat of the summer. It
Right.
was scorching hot, and
Sure.
the air conditioning went out. And for some reason, I don't know why, you fellas sent me across the hall to where he was to see was his unit out too, because we're in the same building. Anywho, I knock on the door, he lets me in. And that's the only time I've ever seen like a bearskin rug laid out on somebody's floor. And he had that bearskin, bro. And I'm the bear still had the head on it with his mouth open. Like he was gonna bite down on something, man. It looked cute and vicious simultaneously. Pimp Daddy, is your air out? Yes, young brother, it's kind of hot over here. You know, he talks smooth. Yeah, it's real hot over here, you know, but come on in, just, hang out a little while. What you guys got going on? And I said to him, we're trying to do our little music thing. We're trying to do our little rap thing. These guys at Morehouse, and we're just trying to have fun and be creative and do what we do. And I'm paraphrasing. He says to me, well, y'all seem like some good boys. Y'all don't ever have a whole bunch of hullabaloo going on, just some nice, mannerable young men. And I appreciate that about y'all, young blood. I said, well, thank you. And I said, of course, I didn't call him Pimp Daddy to his face. I said, what do you do for a living? He says, I run an escort service. I said, okay. So by that time, B, there's a knock at the door. And this lady comes in, this young lady comes in with an envelope. And he says, just give it to young blood and you can be on by your way. And she had dropped her head and everything. She didn't look up. She just gave me the envelope and she dipped. I could feel that it was some cash in that piece. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I gave it to him. And he opens it up and he goes through it. And he took a deep breath and he nods his head. And all of a sudden, this light bulb goes off in my head. And he said, yo, Pimp.
Really, Step?
Said, well, whatever you want to call it, young blood. But I makes my money. I've never seen a pimp, I told him. I'm from rural Northeast Georgia, bruh. I've never seen a pimp. So it was amazing to me because he was super nice and he didn't do stereotypical pimp stuff. He wasn't mean. He had the envelope come to me. I passed it to him. She walks out. It's all good. Nobody got smacked. Nobody got no violence. It wasn't violent, man. Nothing ensued.
Very professional, I guess.
Very professional. And so he breaks it down and started talking about his pimp philosophy. And he said, yeah, he said, I have to do what I have to do. He started talking about his game pretty much. And You know, you see these ladies come by from time to time, and they'll drop off some money, but there's no need for alarm. Nothing's gonna happen. You know, this is just where I run my business. You know, I'm in, I'm out, I collect, and I go. I really don't care what your justification is for certain stuff. And I said, okay. And I'm me being the studious brother that I am, I say to him, yo, how do you get into this? He says to me, young brother, it takes a different type of mind to do these things. Do you have the heart to pretty much be violent if your money is a $5 short type of stuff? And I'm standing there with this bugged out look on my face, like, I don't think so. And he pretty much said, if you don't have the heart or lack thereof to make your mama get out there and get your money, that this ain't your line of work. I suggest you and your friends stick to your little music box.
That's how we're doing it now?
Music box.
Exactly. I said, okay. And I said, well, see you later. And he said, all right, young blood. And I came back across there. And I said all that to say this. I was just thinking, because we mentioned him some months ago, and you said he probably dead. But anyway, that was just me, by the way. But I thought about that. And after I broke down, and I paraphrased the whole conversation, but after I broke it all down, bro, Pimp Daddy told me pretty much that I had to be committed, bro.
Yeah.
He was telling me that if I can't commit to doing certain atrocities, that wasn't my line of work. You seem to be committed to this little music thing, so I suggest. He said, I suggest you stick to your music box. And
I mean, he was trying to tell you that that he saw some dedication, to that as opposed to his world. He was fully dedicated to his world. If it was 92 degrees outside, and he had a bearskin rug in his apartment. Obviously, he was very dedicated. He had to be ice cold to he had to be ice cold pimp to have a bearskin rug in the middle of a very hot summer. So I mean, you know, he was the real deal. Now the only thing that I see that was flawed in his whole stance, I should say, or his business, is the fact that he had that little apartment where it was a bunch of, like, basically college age kids. But then again, that might have worked to his advantage, because he probably had a lot of girls, or a young girl or whatever. They were like college age or whatnot, and just 20s or whatever. So it kind of worked to his advantage, because he probably was working the whole apartment complex.
it's just annoying.
You know what I'm saying? So it was like, if he owned a house, he wouldn't have customers as readily available, in as close proximity as he did, being located in the apartment.
He specified that that's where he ran his business, and he had that bearskin rug, and he had on a smoking jacket and an ascot. He was Hugh Hefner. He was Hugh Hefner up in that piece, and it was a really plush apartment. But you have to be committed, is pretty much what he was telling me, and it goes back to an episode that we had a while back when I was talking about Art Turek, was talking about that the difference between interest and commitment. When you're interested in doing something,
Right.
you do it only when circumstances permit, versus when you committed to something, you accept no excuses, only results. So he was pretty
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure he'd accept no excuses if he said he'll pimp his own mama.
exactly, only results.
He wrong.
And man, it's funny. It's funny because I thought about it and I said to myself, wow, I got schooled by a pimp. And he pretty much told me to stick to what I'm doing because again, like you said, that's where our commitment was. He wasn't I showed an interest because I had never seen anything like that. I wasn't thinking about being an understudy. However, I saw an interest, B, because we see it on TV. We grew up watching the Dolomites movies and the Mac, and it was just interesting that this world exists. And but
Mm-hmm.
Youngblood, I see your interest pretty much, but you got to be committed to this game. It's pretty much what he said. So the stuff that y'all good at, y'all some good boys. The stuff that y'all are good at, commit yourself to that, and results will come out of it. And I'm beginning to realize that sometimes the results that come, it might not be what we want when we want it, but when we keep plugging away, stuff happens. And it just spawned me recently to just listen to people and look at a lot of different things. I started looking at a lot of Kobe Bryant stuff, and I looked at interviews with like successful people where the underlying thread in all of these stories is people's level of commitment. They work hard. They'll take a L and get back up. And even in what we're doing now, it gets so hard sometimes, but we have to have that level of commitment, bro. We have to have that level of commitment where we just keep moving and keep grooving and keep trying. And I really look back at that moment. I look back at that conversation and I said to myself, wow, I'm really thankful that I had that moment. And I never see this guy again. But that he took he took the time to pretty much tell me that whatever I'm doing, stick to it.
Right.
Fatherly advice from a pimp. Have you, have you ever had a situation where people could see what you are about
Mm-hmm.
and it's all about them trying to groom you to be the best that you can be?
Yeah, I mean, I would say as far as like people recognizing my talent, they don't necessarily try to groom me, but it's just a positive, reinforcement, just a good word, them saying something, just really encouraging when I'm work when they see me out working on something. I know one time I was at a Starbucks and I was hanging out with a friend, and there was this lady. She was from like South America, I believe. She had like this kind of a accent the way she was speaking, and she didn't know English. She didn't have a masterful hold of the English language, but she did speak some, and she stopped and was checking out my stuff, and she was just saying, like you have to like don't ever give up doing it and keep and just this beautiful work, and I love it, and I just want to see more. And the way she was just saying it, her eyes were just lit up, and it's not the first time that it's ever happened, and it definitely continued to happen even more times after that. But I just remember hearing her just trying to find the words to express how she felt, about it, and the fact that she stopped and was like, I only speak, so much English, but yet she felt compelled to want to talk to me about whatever I was working on at the time. And whenever it reaches people like that, then I just know I have to continue to just keep going with it, and also with our podcast. Uh, people people tell me about it, and they tell me the aspects of it that's something that either touched them, something that resonated with them on our
Right.
podcast. So I mean that's why I know just creatively, I can't even just narrow it down to one thing, but just on a creative level, we have to keep doing we have to keep grinding and stay on it and show dedication and just be dedicated individuals to it and dedicated as a collective because it's reaching people.
Some people like it, some people don't.
And it resonates with people, and that's dedication to me. It means that, and so I'm gonna keep doing it, and then one day I'll have a bearskin a rug, and,
And an ascot. And
yeah, the ascot is some in College Park, and some young brothers gonna come up to me and with his music box, and I'm gonna tell him that if he not willing to put his mama on the street, but you know what the thing, but in hindsight, I can understand why he would say that, and the reason why he said what he said was because men, the woman that we hold in highest regard is our mother.
that's your mama.
That's it. That's just it. So basically, what he was saying was that none of those ladies that he was dealing with, he can't hold them in high regard enough for them to get over on him,
Correct.
for them to double cross him or steal from him, because if you're so cold blooded that you would have your mom out there, I know he wouldn't do that. But if you're cold blooded enough to do that, then of course just some other person that's working for you, you're not gonna let them get over on you because you're not gonna put your heart into it. So if you that bad that you would have your mama out there, I know Pimp Daddy wouldn't do that. His mama was probably old anyway.
There's a market for that. Hey, listen.
That's hard.
Hey, Pimp Daddy, Pimp Daddy, uh, Pimp Daddy was building me up and simultaneously saying I was soft, man. I don't know you.
Hey.
He gave me good advice, but at the same time, man, he broke my legs from under me. Like, you ain't got the heart for the stick with your little music beats. It just made me think about how commitment is a big thing. Results are big, even in everyday life. And sometimes I find myself looking at our reels and looking at how many hits we got. And I try not to get caught up into that, but sometimes I'm just curious. And it really is about the result in a lot of situations, not just the interest. It's a whole bunch of people interested in doing this type of thing, and they set it out. And some of the stuff you look at and it makes you think. Other people you look at and it makes you wonder, like, what are they doing? And I'm not quick, again, and I said this last season, I'm not quick to say somebody is whack for doing something because so many people don't even try. So I give kudos to anybody out there trying to do what they do, man. And so I love the fact that, my man, I talked to him one day. He lives in Charlotte, North Carolina. He was telling me, I watched your podcast, and bro, I think I know the artist. I've seen Big J the artist, and for him to just Big J the artist, I knew he was white. He put the whole name together. And I said, there's no telling, that guy is everywhere. And so it's a different thing when people start looking at you and, okay, you Big J the artist, and people trying to say, energetic enigma from E-Town or Darth Stiphius. Those little names, those little things that we talk about on our episodes, people kind of regurgitate those things back sometimes, and that makes you feel really good and notice, you to your point, we are reaching a few people, and we have a firm base of people that it's a few people that every reel they say something, they put something up, they let us know that they are watching. But you just have to be committed and be consistent to it. I've had so many conversations this week just for no reason. People talk about commitment. I talked to my aunt the other day who was an educator at home and a respected educator at that. And she started talking about how when she was in high school in the 60s, she was in she was in calculus or trig, one of those two advanced math classes, and she said I was the only. She said colored and everything. I was the only colored girl in there, and I
Mhm.
and
Wow.
I had to commit myself to learning this stuff because with that being the odds, I couldn't fail. She ended up going to she ended up going to Bennett College, which is the sister school to Morehouse, and she ended up going to Bennett, and even there she's hours away from home. She had to commit because I can't fail. I'm from a family that can't send me uh, money for this and for that and for books. And she told me, she said I had to be committed to my work. And as a work study student, she said I worked in the cafeteria. I worked in the cafeteria all 4 years, to help pay my way. And she went on to talk about how once she became an educator, she understood how she had to give back because she had a lot of students that had nothing.
Hey, it's Jason Thomas, aka Big J. I just wanted to say thank you all for supporting our content. We put a lot of love and effort into what we do, and I just want to say thank you all who watch us, who support us. We appreciate you guys. Thank you. Peace.
She told me the story about how this kid came back from the Christmas holiday and mom didn't get him anything. She couldn't afford to, and he had some really busted shoes, and he did not want to go into the school building because he knew that the other kids was going to pick on him, and he was crying. And her level of commitment, she said that she had maybe $80 to her name, and asked permission to take the kid off of campus, and she took him shopping for shoes and some clothes, and she talked about how he just lit up. He just lit up, and his tears were gone, and he was smiling because her level of commitment and her love put her in a situation where she wanted to give back and help someone else who was pretty much in a situation where they could not do none, do anything for themselves, b and so commitment is such a big thing, and I don't understand how, because it's a two-way street now. It can be positive. You can commit yourself to positive things and get positive results, but more often than not in these days and times, people have a hard level of commitment to negativity as well.
Right. Right.
And we've seen, we see that all the time. If somebody decides, hey, I'm gonna commit myself to being, you know a thief, I'm going to commit myself to being a murderer, I'm going to commit myself to being a rapist, I'm commit myself to being manipulative, I'm going to commit myself to all of these things that I think is popular and I think it's going to give me some juice, then I'm going to commit myself. And the sad part about it, we see more examples of people committed to negative stuff that actually work. And let me explain that. People who commit themselves to anything negative, it's not an interest. They do not settle for anything less than the result that they want.
Mm-hmm.
To me, I think a lot of times when people are doing stuff positive and trying to commit to it, at some point we get burned out and the commitment just kind of fizzles away for whatever reason. But negative energy, for some reason, fuels in a different way if you're not careful. So commitment works on both sides of the coin, B.
It's delayed gratification
Mm-hmm.
versus instant gratification. When it's
Good
something
call.
that's very when it's something really easy to commit to and to see results from much faster, because it's going to be like an instant gratification thing, because it's targeting pleasure. Like, what can I do right now that's gonna make myself happy, and how can I capitalize off of other people, their need to want to you know make themselves happy or feel pleasure right now instantly. So it's almost like I'm gonna put that out there. I know you're gonna want it. You're gonna flock towards it, and I'm gonna just get my money like right now or whatever I'm seeking. I'm gonna get that like almost immediately. Whereas delayed gratification means you're sacrificing certain things in order for the greater good, to take place. So it's a different kind of level of commitment, and you're committed more or less to the betterment of your situation, your community, the earth, or just whatever, however grand it is. But it's going to be a lot of lonely nights. There's going to be a lot of toiling, on your own.
Right.
A lot of people not understanding. They're going to want to discourage you from what you're doing. But that when that commitment is strong, you have to have a vision of where you want to be or where you want your project to be when other people don't see it. And so that's true commitment when it's something that you can't even truly even explain to a person because you know that they're not going to be able to have the same vision that you have. That's like commitment on a whole other level, and it's delayed gratification. But I think most of the time when a person has that kind of is committed in that kind of way, it's not even about them. It's a much it's on a more grander scale than just money or attention or popularity or something like that.
Right.
There's some level of service that's taking place or that's or going to take place, through time, and a lot of times service doesn't get recognized, doesn't get acknowledged, that doesn't get appreciated. But just the fact that a person is willing to do that and have a certain level of commitment to that speaks volumes of that person's character and
Right.
who they really are as a person.
But see, piggybacking on what you just said, that's the thing that made the Pimp Daddy conversation just profound after I think about it. Because
Right.
again, instant versus delayed. So he also in that conversation said, "Young blood, I provide a service." You know, so I said, Pimp Daddy said he provided a service. So he
Well,
he,
he
he
does.
does. He provides a service that
It's thorough.
delivers instant gratification to a certain degree. Um, and so once that happens, he gets instant gratification with envelopes of money and
Right.
and a bearskin rug and an ascot and a smoking jacket and some silk pajamas on, loving life, chilling with a perm. And but what he was telling me, young blood, stick to your little music box. What he was telling me in his own little way was if you're committed to what you're doing, and he mentioned y'all are some good kids. Y'all don't have a whole bunch of hullabaloo. Y'all don't have a whole bunch of foolishness going on.
Mm-hmm.
Keep doing what you're doing. It might take a while, but if you keep doing it and you get better, you get good at it, it's going to pay off.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you are willing to do certain things, this is not for you.
Right.
This is not for you. I'm not the person that can run a marathon like you guys can, but I can sprint or have other people sprinting for me. And that's pretty much what he was telling me. And years later, thinking about it, I realized how dope of a conversation it really, really was. And he was smiling and talking to me, and I'm just standing there in awe pretty much because I've never seen any of this stuff before. I haven't
Right.
talked to a pimp since. And but just listening and thinking back on that, it really again was a moment because I said to myself, wow, like this guy was really schooling me on some stuff. And he was trying to, tell me some stuff and help me with some stuff that help me grow into a more responsible person. Don't be like me unless. Yeah, you're right. He probably wanted to put his mom out there, but just that image that it provided in my little young mind was like, wow, no, I couldn't do that. But
Right.
again, I couldn't do it to anybody else, mama, either. So that, I guess that was his way of just see. He said, "This ain't for you. You don't have the heart for this."
The
I,
hot.
the hot, yeah. You don't have the heart for this, young brother. Yeah, the hot. You don't have the heart for this, young brother. Young brother, you don't have the heart. This ain't for you. Stick to what you're doing. Y'all some good kids. Y'all ain't you not made from what I made from, and vice versa. I can't do what you're doing, but you definitely can't do what I'm doing. And that's the difference between the positive and the negative with anything that we commit to or dedicate ourselves to, because we have the opportunity in whatever we do to turn to the dark side. We have the opportunity to give up and just go for the immediate gratification. We have the opportunity to do everything freaking wrong, B. And it's a choice to commit ourselves to God and to commit ourselves to the plan that He lays out for us to do things the right way. And it's gonna be difficult in a lot of situations, but it's the it's the finish line. It's the race itself, the marathon. Anything can happen on that long run, but we just have to continue to plug away and do what we know we got to do and get there. And like my aunt was saying, help somebody else. When we get to where we're trying to get to, even though we might not have it all, it's somebody else that is broken, busted, disgusted, and don't have the resources that we have, even though we have only a little bit. She had maybe $80 to her name and put that on someone else. She invested in someone else with what little bit she had, because she knew the importance of having that level of love and commitment to somebody, that person would see what happened and hopefully do that same thing for someone else. Like you said on the episode of, a while back, invest into each other and just love on each other and do what we're supposed to do to help each other. So I think with our content, this is our way of trying to invest and give back, and hopefully it reaches somebody. But just thinking back over all of these stories, I never in a million lifetimes, and we talked about Pimp Daddy a while back and we didn't even think about it. And just suddenly, as we started, it hit me in my face. Did I ever tell you the conversation about Pimp Daddy? And that's, man, 1,000 years ago, it seems. But Pimp Daddy,
I didn't know you went over there.
yes.
Why'd
One
you
of
go over there?
the ex might have sent me over there. Or
Who?
X, Mitch, he might have sent me over there. Or Joe here. Something, man. Go see his. Go over there to see. Does he have it? I'm pretty sure he doesn't have any, and we don't. And that's how I ended up over there, man. I knocked on this door and got
You probably
a
had hair.
lesson. No, he didn't. He had on that. He didn't have it. He didn't have any at
Well, he
all. It
probably
was,
had with an ascot on in a what'd you say he had on? A smoking jacket?
he had on a smoking jacket and an ascot and some silk pajamas,
He was
man.
probably smoking all right. He was probably on fire with that silk, a silk coat on, and a silk wrapped around his neck. Silk can
Hey,
get real hot, man,
hey,
when
Kim. He's
when it's humid out.
sitting in his living room soaking wet in a silk suit, trying not to sweat. He was
If he was making money like that, he should have got a hotel.
he probably did after that girl left, because she left a nice little envelope. She came in, dropped her head, passed me the envelope. Thank
Yeah.
you, and I gave it to him. So one of the crew sent me over there for some reason. I don't know why they didn't go themselves. I guess because
Cause yeah,
I'm
we
not.
never went over there. Not. I don't remember. I know I didn't go over there, and I don't remember anyone else ever going
So
over
I
there.
became the sacrificial lamb. But it happened the way that it was supposed to happen, because I got some life game instead of some pimp game.
That's true.
And so
That is true.
there oh yeah, he clearly told me that I'm not pimp material. But he he
He
gave me some
probably
like,
customers over competitors. He probably rather you had patron his business as opposed to become his competition.
no he
He
probably,
was trying to make sure that you didn't get in the game. Because you probably would have took him over. That old man probably would have got real upset. I brought you. I tried to steer you in the right direction.
You gonna kill me in the process. If it wasn't for me, you wouldn't have no money. And now look at you. You're turning yourself out and you got your girls on you. And
Those are different music.
the music box. This nigga music box, man. So, man,
Like, you said right before you pull out a pistol, take you out the game permanently.
hey, Pimp Daddy, if you still around, man, if you ever hear this and you remember my face and you remember the story, man, I just like to say thank you, man, and send you a shout out of peace, bro. Thank you for in your own little way keeping me on the straight and narrow, and so I forever appreciate that. You got anything else you want to add, B?
If any one of Pimp Daddy's girls are on social media, any of the social media outlets, because you know good and well that old man is not on no dog social media to hear this message. Please relay that message to Pimp Daddy. If he's still doing that, he's wrong for that. He needs to go somewhere and sit down. If he didn't make enough money to cash out now, and he in his 70s, then he was doing the wrong thing. He should have got into the music himself.
Well, with that being said, I just want to give out again, peace to Pimp Daddy, peace to X, peace to our boy Joe for sending me over there as a sacrificial lamb for no reason. I don't even know where you were, Jay, but you can hit us up at Our Content Podcast on YouTube, Our Content Podcast on Spotify, Our Content Podcast on Instagram. Apple Podcast is the audio version only of Our Content Podcast, and you can shoot us an email at ourcontentpodcast@gmail.com. My name is Step, aka Cyncere Wizdumb, the energetic enigma from E-Town, rolling with my guy, my brother, Big J, the artist. We're getting ready to log it out, and again, we say thank you. Keep God first and love each other, man.
Man, I love y'all. I'm just glad that we were able to share. You shared that story with me. That meant a lot to me that you shared the story of your interaction with the pimp. That just does a lot for me, brother. I'm glad. That's a story. That's a story that I never knew I needed to hear, but it did a lot for me. Y'all stay committed to whatever it is you're trying to do. Stay committed. Stay committed to love. Stay committed to peace. Stay committed to unity. Stay committed to God Almighty above all things else. And I just want to say peace, y'all, and I love you.